Stop telling people who are no contact with their parents that they need to either make things right, they need to talk to their parents, or that that's your mom. Like, how can you just not talk to her? I had someone on my live yesterday say that my mom is not guaranteed tomorrow, and that should give me the reason that I need to talk to her. Y'all only know the 2 stories that I've told y'all. I have 26 years worth of things that have happened. I just know that if it was my husband that was saying or doing the things that my mom has done, that y'all would not be telling me that I need to stay with him and talk to him and make it work. So why is it different when it comes to parents? I don't care who you are. I have boundaries. I'm not gonna let people treat me just whichever way they want to treat me. Also, keep in mind that me being no contact with my mom was not an easy decision for me. It is not something I wanted to do or that I took lightly, and I'm still not happy about it. I don't want to have this sort of relationship. I don't want to be doing this, but I'm also putting myself first and doing what I feel is best.
People say stuff like that, but at the same time, people also see like a child who's being neglected or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, this person isn't a parent, they're just somebody who has kids, right? So on one hand, people will quickly watch negative things that parents do to their children and be like, you're not a real parent. On the other, they'll say, oh, people should never turn their backs. It's like, those two things, how they coexist in this world, I don't know.
It's crazy.
There are parents out there who are fucking deadbeat losers, who beat their children, who do everything they can to possibly put their children down. And I also know some kids who will never let go of their parents despite that. Even though their parents are the source of 99% of their stress and struggles in life, well into their 30s, they will hold on to their parent because of that very sentiment. Now, it's not my place to tell those kids what to do. I do think it's interesting that these kids are willing to suffer 20 years of misfortune at the hands of their parents' choices to make them miserable. That, to me, I will never understand. But they are entitled to that choice. The same way, those very same people, if they said for the next 20 years, I will no longer talk to my parents until they start changing their behavior, I would support. You guys should be able to you should be free to do
Whatever you want to do.
whatever you want with your parents' relationship. No one on the outside should be telling you how to manage them. My experience is that relationships can go 1 of 3 ways. It could be the parents are really terrible, it could be the kids are really terrible, or it could be a mixture of both.
Incompatibility.
And when you have these kinds of dynamics, everyone is going to react to them very differently. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all. But a lot of times people come from cultures where parents are revered as the end-all be-all. I know some people who will literally have their parents decide who they're going to marry. I know some people who have their parents literally babying them until they're in their 40s. And I have some people whose parents just literally, anything they say goes. And the spouse comes second, third, fourth, or fifth.
It could not be me.
Everyone's going to be different.
Absolutely.
But you can't come with your cultural references and then come to everybody else and expect them to abide by that. In my opinion, I think a parent-child relationship is sacred, yes, but it doesn't mean it's immune from criticism or accountability. I love my mom, and I have her in my life not because she has to be there, but because we both choose to be in our lives. And that's way healthier for us both. Why? Because it makes us accountable to each other for our own behavior. My mom did a lot of terrible things throughout my life. She just did. But I can also concede that I did a lot of insensitive, terrible things. And as I've learned and forgiven her for that, she's learned to forgive me for that as we both changed our behavior. That, to me, even with my mom, who's incredibly traditional and comes from a country where that kind of thinking is crazy, to see that kind of growth is beautiful. But that's not there unless people are being held accountable, okay? But if my mom would have never changed, I would have cut her out of my life. Easy. And I can say that because I've cut other people out of my life because they just wouldn't change the way that they were hurting other people. And would I regret that? Absolutely not. It would be sad because I want these people in my life. And most people I know who stop talking to their parents do so because a lot of things have happened. It's not like, oh, she called me a bitch. That's it. That never happens like that. So rather than coming to this conversation and be like, ooh, that's your parent, whatever, people can come with like problem-solving skills to actually mend families, but people don't want to do that. They just tell you to stick around. Your thoughts are?
My thoughts are this. No, you don't have to talk to your parents ever again. They don't have necessarily, they have to speak to you. No, you don't have to have a relationship. Absolutely not. They did some fucked up shit. You could cut them right off. Absolutely. You could be like, bye. I'm not dealing with that bullshit no more. I'm thinking about me. I'm doing me. I'm not dealing with you no more. Yep, you could do that. But you also have to understand that your actions have consequences. Although you are you are entitled to do that, it's a possibility. It's a possibility that you regret it later. Yeah, it might. I wish this and that, and I wish I could mend things off with my parents. But I'm not the one that's gonna be telling you, yeah, you absolutely have to. I don't know how you felt, and I don't know what you lived and how you lived that shit, and how fucked up it was. I can't. But I do understand this. We glorify and sanctify this relationship like anything. Doesn't matter what happened. But it's your mom. To me, that's not an argument. It's not. But it's your mom. But it's your dad. No, forget them. All right. It's really just nah. It's a no.
I just know that if it was my husband that was saying or doing the things that my mom has done, that y'all would not be telling me that I need to stay with him and talk to him and make it work. So why is it different when it comes to parents?
That's not better either. I think a lot of times people just come out from the outside and always just like, quit a marriage, quit it. And so people think that that kind of mindset should apply to all relationships. No, you should not be treating them like that. You should not be quick to cut off relationships because there's negative stuff or there's some toxicity. That's not how the way it works. People should be trying to mend things and change their ways and try to improve, especially with marriages or familial bonds. So in my opinion, all these relationships are worth fighting for to the utmost degree.
That's pretty much it, man.
Yep.
It's like and
you know,
cutting the bridge with someone, like cutting the bridge off with someone. It might hurt. It might hurt.
Oh, it will hurt.
It doesn't mean it's not because you cut it off that you're like insensitive or whatnot. It's not that what it means. It just, hey, I have to choose me. I want it, whether it's your mom, your dad, your relatives, your friends, your people in your life. Sometimes you need to cut it off. It's the same thing with a job with a toxic environment. The pay was good, but sometimes it's draining and it's fucking up my life. And you know what? I gotta choose me. So I quit that. I like some of my coworkers. There was good points in the relationship, good sides of the relationship, and it was good, but I gotta cut it off. In order for me to grow, I need to cut this ish off.
I can tell you it hurts. You want to know why? Because it's not like a job. It's very different. You want to know?
You're not really in frame.
That's fine. It's not really like a job. It's so different. Because when you cut off a family member, you're cutting off family functions. So you're cutting off the whole network to a degree in terms of how folks gather.
You could.
So you're missing out on all the experience you're supposed to have as unit. Christmas, the family bonds, the showers. Because if you're doing truly no contact, that means you're not in places where they're going to be there. So you're actually cutting off a whole lot more. So cutting off a family member is actually incredibly traumatic in a lot of ways.
Even like friends and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just the disrespect is too much, and sometimes you just I gotta do. Doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. It does, but sometimes it's a necessity for you to grow. And yeah, I'm not gonna be the one to tell you that you shouldn't do it because it's so sacred and you love that. I'm not the one.
I wonder, would these people who say, "But it's your mom, you have to." What if that person has a grandchild? Is the grandma entitled to treating that grandchild the same way too? I'm just curious.
That could not be me.
Do you guys really believe that? I don't think so. I think they would change their mind right away.
I hope not.
I think that a lot of kids have a bad notion that they have to ultimately always self-sacrifice for their parents.
Yep.
That is somehow noble, and it's always a good thing. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Sometimes you're actually just making a really dumb decision. You may think it's from a good place because you've been brainwashed. Yes, I'll say it. Some of you have been fucking brainwashed into thinking that your parents can never be wrong and that you're always supposed to suffer for them.
Bro.
I don't think it's not good to sacrifice for your people and your loved ones, but you have to understand there comes a point where your self-sacrifice is literally just enabling their bad behavior. Because when you endure it, that means the expectations also set for your siblings to also endure it. And that means let them know, oh, what I'm doing is not wrong. So because you let it happen the first, second, and third time, the 20th time, you're like, bitch, how you gonna tell me different? You told me I was right. Your siblings that you set an example told me that it's right. So I'm gonna just keep doing it.
And the more that you enable it, the worse it gets.
I'll tell you this, my relationship with my mom got so much better once I realized, oh, she makes mistakes. Oh, she like the rest of us adults. She don't know what the she's doing either sometimes.
She's just winging it.
Oh, I actually know better than my mom in some situations. And it's no disrespect.
No.
My mom's incredibly wise in some domains. She gives me counsel and I always appreciate it. But guess what? She's technologically illiterate. God love her, but hey man, doing IT for my mom is one of the most unpaid stressful behaviors that I'm like, hey, how is this real? Why do you have scotch tape over your webcam to stop hackers? That doesn't work. Okay? But I love her. But I think in seeing, you know what's crazy, bro? I said it recently.
I'm not laughing at your mom. I'm just
Because I always held her in this position, she literally wasn't human. Which sounds so counterintuitive. But because my mom was like sacred for a long time, she didn't have hobbies in my eyes. She didn't have even like, I didn't even know what TV, like I didn't know.
a lot of you are like that.
Because she's so busy being like up here, I forgot to. So I remember we went out to like some event. We were just like painting cups and shit. We were doing like ceramic cups and stuff. We were getting them ready.
Yeah.
And she really enjoyed it. And I'm like, I'm 33, but like, oh my God, my mom likes art. And it sounds so, but
No, I
for
think
me, it was such a big deal because it humanized her in a way she was just not just this mythical figure.
I think it's also culturally speaking, you know. My parents are very much open to the world and stuff like that. They're very, you know, so I did stuff like that with them. And
Gotcha.
Like, and so of course, and it was not always that figure. I did a bunch of activities with my parents. Like my mom used to work during the day. My dad was working at night, right? But during the summertime, I was there at home with my sister.
Yeah.
My dad, at some point, my dad got up. He said, "Yo, tell your sister to dress up. We're going out." And I was like, all right, man, whatever. And my dad don't say much information. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I dress up. The man tells you to dress up, dress the fuck up. So I dressed up, and we get in the car, and it's like, where we going? You'll see when we get there. All right, bro. Shit. All right, shit. And anyways, I ain't got no.
You don't have a say.
I don't have to say anyways.
You were gonna
just
go
shut the fuck up and enjoy this ride to nowhere. We end up at the zoo. This motherfucker took us to the zoo. Yeah. And it's like, yo, look at this. Look at that shit. It's like that? You know?
Yeah. That's exactly what he wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
That bothersome look. Like, y'all still need to, don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at me.
I get it. I don't like revealing surprises for that same reason either.
Same.
I don't have to deal with the annoying excitement of people.
Yeah,
being like,
just calm down. Like, oh my God. Shut the up. This is just enjoy the ride to nowhere, and you'll get there when we get there. But all that to say, yeah, you kind of see your parents at some point. You see your parents as human beings. You take them down off the pedestals, not they're still your parents and stuff like that. But you're like, you see them at the most vulnerable and stuff like that. So yeah, it's humbling.
Oh, that's funny.
You see them they go from the people that always have the answer to, how the fuck don't you know that? How the fuck did you raise me?
Yep.
You just like, so being able to break that, it just being like, okay, that person is human. That person makes mistakes. You're able to forgive whatever the fuck they did.
Yep.
Consciously or unconsciously. Sometimes they don't know. They try to wing it. So yeah, I'm not saying that girl to forgive her. It's just the whole concept of the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The last point I'll leave it on is mending relationships is a two-party event. Now, maybe there is an offending party that needs to apologize first, but you have to understand both of y'all got to build that bridge. Both. Okay? Sometimes people think conflict resolution is always on the other person. Maybe you just got to say the first word for them to come meet you. I understand maybe you're tired of having to do that constantly, but if it means that you get to fix that relationship, that's not the worst thing in the world. And then at the end of the day, you can walk away saying, I tried everything, and you let it go. But in my experience, mending fences isn't always an even job, but it is a two-person job.
Yeah. The best way to build a bridge is from the two shores.
What he said. At any rate, I don't know if that's true. There's probably going to be an architect in the... Actually, the proper way to... you build a little steam tanker right in the middle of the water. Shut up, nerd.
Yeah, shut up.
Nerd.
Ain't nobody asked you.
Fucking nerd.
You just messed up my whole fucking bar.
I bully you out of my family.
That was a bar.
Yeah.
And you messed it up.
All right, anyways. Over there.
Waffle fries.